Welcome to Behind the Gear. We are in Provo, Utah at the base of the Wasatch Mountains, and we are going to take a closer look at Timpanogos Hiking Company, a fast-growing local favorite for outdoor enthusiasts. Hi everyone, my name is Jordan, and I am excited to take you behind the gear of Timpanogos Hiking Company. The founder and CEO is inside waiting for me, so let's dive right in. Hey Joe. Thanks for having me here.
Welcome.
I've been excited to get behind the scenes of your business, get to know you, your story. But before we start, I gotta tell you a little bit like how I found you guys out. Because I'm fairly new to Utah, moved here a couple years ago, and obviously the YouTube scene is big here.
Right.
But I actually found you guys out through Devin at Backcountry Exposure, and he was on a video, and he was wearing this exact same shirt, and
That's
I was
awesome.
like, this shirt is amazing looking. So saw the shirt, looked at Timpanogos, and then Googled you real quick, saw your store, and came in the next day.
Well, I'm glad you found us. That's
Yes.
an amazing way to find us.
So obviously exposure on YouTube works.
There you go.
Getting in today, let's just sit down. I'll ask you some questions.
Sounds good.
Get to know a little bit of your story, and then you can take me on a little tour around your store.
That sounds great.
Okay, thanks.
Come on in.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about what your company is and just kind of the general what Timpanogos Hiking Company does?
Yeah, so, this was a big life detour for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a professor in Massachusetts. That was the life career trajectory that I was on. I'd done my PhD at the University of Rochester.
Wow.
I'd been teaching for about 8 years, got tenure, was department chair. That was just kind of where I was going, right? Then I had a couple pretty difficult life experiences that were unexpected, including my mom having a serious brain injury and my dad almost dying of COVID, and all my family's here in Utah. So it just kind of made me rethink what I wanted out of life. Mm-hmm. And so I started Timpanogos completely online as a side project. And about 3 to 4 months into it, I was like, there's something here, right? You could just kind of sense that we were reaching an audience. And really, I think what it was two things, I think. One was a big part of the motivation for me in creating the business was this idea of escaping the noise, right? And that how good just getting outdoors and hiking is for our mental health. So that was a big part of it. The other part of it was that Timpanogos, for me, especially having been on the East Coast for 15 years, but having grown up here in Utah, Mount Timpanogos represented home, right? And it was like a kind of North Star. It was like an anchor for me. And so it was those two things that I think made it really meaningful to me. And then I noticed as the business got some momentum, those were the things that were working for other people too. Locally, Mount Timpanogos means a lot to a lot of people. And nationally, it was that escape the noise, mental health message that was really resonating.
When I hear escape the noise, it's very deep to me, because how I personally feel is our environment just keeps speeding up faster and faster.
Yeah.
And we're trying to match that pace of life.
Right.
With technology, faster, updated iPhones, and the thing about it is, because we're just people, there's a certain limit we can reach.
We only have so much bandwidth, right?
Only so much bandwidth until we start feeling symptoms of anxiety, stress, depression, whatever creeps in. For me, the outdoors is kind of, and I've read your story online, and I do recommend going to Timpanogos Hiking Co.com and reading their story. It will go really in depth to Joe.
That story I just told,
it's amazing.
basically,
but with a lot more detail.
Yeah.
For me, going outside slows me back down to, I feel like, the natural pace of what life should be.
Yeah.
We talked before, and you said you consider yourself this company as more of a outdoor lifestyle company. But I also feel like it's a lifestyle plus a little bit of that mental health side of it, which is encouraging people to get outside for their health.
Yeah.
Right.
In my previous life as a professor, I taught literature and film, right? So I'm very much thinking always about stories, right? And thinking about why things connect with people. Products are products, right? But stories are more powerful, right? And so we're still, I think, in some ways catching up in terms of products, right? Or I shouldn't say catching up, just figuring it out, right? We're trying to figure out what are the right products to kind of carry the story, right? Because the story for me is the most important part. And the story is I think something that a lot of people are feeling and experiencing, which is, we're in the midst of a mental health crisis. There's just a lot of changes, with AI and with, things that even like kind of question our very humanity, right? Like some very serious things. And so I think that, it seems very simple, right? It seems like, oh, just go outdoors and go hiking.
Yeah.
But there's something very powerful there, right? And I think that's the driver of everything that we're doing here. And in fact, if you look on this poster up here, this is actually inspired by Nike. It's like our top 10 things that what we're about, right? And number 10 is great businesses tell great stories, which I believe.
So obviously there's a lot of outdoor companies and there's a lot of people that are in this field. Joe, what do you feel like sets you guys apart from other outdoor retailers?
Well, I definitely think, the emphasis on mental health is crucial to who we are and what we do. But the other part of it is that I really wanted to represent like the local landscape, right? I wanted to be very based in a community in a particular place, right? And even if we end up getting a bunch of stores, like I want all of those stores to kind of reflect the space that they're in, right? So for us, obviously, I mean, if you drive down the road, you're going to hit Mount Timpanogos, right? Like we're that close to it. And so
see it right down the street, just direct.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally down University Avenue. You hit Provo Canyon, you go up Sundance to Mount Timpanogos. So for me, like Mount Timpanogos is both literally and symbolically what we are, right? And so when people come into the store, I want them to feel like we're connected to that mountain, whether we're giving them badges for reaching the summit or whether they're coming in here to look at like maps and trails and things like that. I just wanted it to kind of be a hub for all things Timpanogos.
So for you, what do you feel like has been the biggest obstacle as you've moved forward in this business, or even at the beginning of it, that you feel like hit you right away and you were able to get around?
There's tons of obstacles. There's still obstacles. We're almost 2 years in, and there's just we had a really tough start to 2024, for a number of reasons. All of those things, I think, in certain ways, if you approach them the right way, they actually crystallize, and kind of bring you closer to what you're supposed to be, right? So like every challenge or every obstacle actually can make you better, smarter,
refines you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a crucible, right? It's just like it's kind of testing you, and it gets you closer, I think, to what you need to do to be successful. So,
do you by chance have your first product you ever made here? Would you remember that first design that you made?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, there were like 3 iterations of the logo, and I could show you later, like our first logo, because that went through kind of a few steps. This shirt that I'm wearing actually is one of our first designs. And a lot of people ask, like, what's the 1972 thing? Part of it's just I like retro design, so it's like kind of like capturing the essence of that era. But part of it was when I was researching Timpanogos, I found that they did these annual Timp hikes, which they actually started in the 1920s, maybe actually a little bit before that, and then started giving out badges in the 1930s. But anyway, the annual Timp hike ended in 1971, and the reason why is because at that point, like 7,000 people were going up the mountain at once, and it was just ruining the mountain. And so I thought, oh, that's an interesting story, that like this was this really cool tradition that people loved, but to preserve that mountain, they sacrificed it, right?
They stopped it,
They just stopped it, and I thought, oh, cool, like I want to honor that tradition that they had, which was awesome, and like created the trails that we have and everything, but also honor the sacrifice, right? And so I created this design.
Thank you for sharing kind of a little bit of a history, a little back-end story. But obviously this show is called Behind the Gear, and we want to see some of your products.
Sure.
And if by chance you have anything in the pipeline of anything new coming out or anything in the future that you're wanting to come out with, we want to hear about that too.
Awesome, let's do it. So what we like to do is like put our best sellers up here at the front. So we update these, like if a design catches on, then we'll kind of put it up here in the front. So these are our top designs, including all of our Timpanogos designs.
Okay.
So, and then up here, these are our badges. We started this tradition last year. This is an old tradition that goes back to the 1930s. And last year we just did Mount Timpanogos, and it just was awesome. It caught fire, and so now we have 9 other peaks this year and a bonus badge for hiking to the Y locally. So
do you get that if you hike? Is
yeah,
that
so if you reach the summit,
Yeah.
you take a picture, tag us, and then come pick it up, and it's free.
I
So,
love it.
Yeah, and you can like heat transfer them on backpacks, or you can just collect them. But people really love this tradition, and you know that we brought it back. So
yeah, is there a price that someone just doesn't have to hike and they can pay $100 for it? And
no,
get
they
it?
have to earn it.
Okay, good.
There's no there's no cheat. You got to get to the
Love
summit.
it. So if you see somebody with one of those patches, they did hike it.
They earned it. And we have people actually literally come down after hiking like 10, 11 hours up the mountain, right down to the store, like ready to die and get their badge. So it, you know, some people are like, oh, you know, you don't need a badge to incentivize hiking. And I agree with that, but it's just a way to symbolize something that's meaningful to people. So it's fun.
It is a big hike.
We're doing a lot of accessories too. So one thing that we try to think about is just what would people need for a day hike? So if they were just going for a few hours, you know, what types of things would they need? Obviously sunglasses, hats, water bottles. We're actually getting our own water bottles soon. So that's something that's in the pipeline that are going to be branded and kind of our own design. So I'm excited about that. We're also, this is something that I've been thinking about since I started this business, but we're looking at getting backpacks. And so we've tested a bunch of them. I can kind of show you some of the prototypes, but they are in the pipeline. It's something that I think would be really important for us, is just having a unique backpack that's specifically Timpanogos. So our most popular design right now is actually the goat. So I can show you kind of what that looks like. Cool story behind this. This goat was actually designed by my daughter, who is 16 years old, in high school.
That is awesome.
She's an amazing artist and graphic designer, and she actually created this, and it's our best-selling shirt. And then we just have a lot of other kind of goat designs. Again, these are all inspired by the goats up at Mount Timpanogos, but obviously, you know, people also play into the goat.
I think some people will look at the goat and say, what's the connection?
Yeah.
But once you hike it, you realize there are mountain goats everywhere up there, and they're kind of a part of Mount Timpanogos, especially as you get higher.
Yeah.
They live up there, and you see them.
Yeah, and like for me, again, it's just like part of branding is just being authentic, right? And so when I was thinking of the slogan, it came to me very clearly: escape the noise, right? And then when I was thinking, we kind of need like a mascot of some kind, you know, like some kind of, besides like our main logo, we need like some other kind of secondary logo with like an animal. And so I was like, it could be a cougar, it could be a bear, but then I was like, oh, it's obvious, it's the goat, right? Because when you get up high on Mount Timpanogos, that's kind of one of the most amazing things, is because you just don't really see, you know, you don't really see that in everyday life, and there they are, and it's just kind of an amazing encounter that you only experience when you get like probably like, you know, 3-4 hours up there. So
you have to earn your way to get to the goats.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't see goats, you're not high enough. Right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Thank you so much for showing around the store.
My pleasure.
Telling your story. But the most important thing is I have to pick up some garb because there's been some things for the past couple months before I set this up that I've been wanting to buy, and so I'm gonna pick them up right now.
Okay, let's do it.
It's been incredible to hear Joe's story and see the passion and dedication that fuels this brand. If you find yourself in Provo, Utah, be sure to not miss the chance to stop by and support this amazing local business. At Timpanogos Hiking Company, it's more than just gear. Joe and his team believe in the power of the outdoors to improve mental health and help us escape the noise of everyday life. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to join us next time as we explore another amazing outdoor company. Until then, remember to gear up, get outside, and I'll see you in the next one.